South China Sea. The South China Sea is an important global trade route as well as a potential source of hydrocarbons, particularly natural gas, with rival claims to ownership of the sea and its resources. The South China Sea is one of the world's most important commercial routes, stretching from Singapore and the Malacca Strait in the southwest to the Taiwan Strait in the northeast. The sea is rich in resources and has strategic and political significance. The area contains hundreds of tiny islands, rocks, and reefs, the majority of which are found in the Paracel and Spratly Island chains. Many of these islands are partially submerged landmasses that are unfit for human habitation and serve only as shipping hazards. The whole land area of the Spratly Islands, for example, is less than 3 square miles. Several countries bordering the sea declare sovereignty of the islands in order to claim control of the surrounding water and its resources. Although officially not part of the South China Sea, controversies about control of the Gulf of Thailand and its resources abound. Asia's tremendous economic expansion drives up energy demand in the region. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, EIA, total liquid fuels consumption in Asian countries outside the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, will grow at a 2.6% annual rate, rising from around 20% of global consumption in 2008 to more than 30% by 2035. Similarly, non-OECD Asia's natural gas consumption is increasing at a 3.9% yearly rate, rising from 10% of global consumption in 2008 to 19% by 2035. According to the EIA, China will account for 43% of that rise. With domestic oil production in Southeast Asia expected to remain flat or drop as consumption rises, the region's countries will look to alternative sources of energy to meet local demand. China, in particular, promotes natural gas as a favored energy source and has set an ambitious objective of expanding natural gas's portion of its energy mix from 3% to 10% by 2020. The South China Sea has the potential to yield significant natural gas finds, providing an incentive to capture additional portions of the sea for domestic production. Resources and reserve in South China Sea. According to the EIA, the South China Sea has 11 billion barrels of oil and 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas in proven and probable reserves. The majority of conventional hydrocarbons are found in undisputed territory. Because of underexploration and jurisdictional conflicts, determining the amount of oil and natural gas in the South China Sea is challenging. The majority of newly discovered fields are concentrated in uncontested areas of the sea, close to the coasts of the coastal countries. The EIA estimates that the South China Sea contains approximately 11 billion barrels, BBL, of oil reserves and 190 trillion cubic feet, TCF, of natural gas reserves. These figures include both proved and probable reserves, bringing them closer to a top-end estimate. According to the energy firm Wood Mackenzie, the sea has only 2.5 billion barrels of oil equivalent in proved oil and gas reserves. In addition to proven and probable deposits, the South China Sea may include undiscovered hydrocarbons. As part of its World Petroleum Resources Assessment Project, the United States Geological Survey, USGS, examined the potential for undiscovered conventional oil and gas plays in 7 geologic provinces in Southeast Asia in 2010. The study includes a large portion of the South China Sea, which the USGS says might hold anywhere from 5 to 22 billion barrels of oil and 70 to 290 trillion cubic feet of gas in undiscovered resources, not including the Gulf of Thailand and other areas adjacent to the South China Sea. These additional resources are not considered commercial reserves at this time, since it is unknown if extracting them would be economically possible. Because the USGS evaluation did not cover the entire area, there may be more undiscovered resources. The Chinese National Offshore Oil Company, CNOOC, stated in November 2012 that the area contains approximately 125 billion barrels of oil and 500 trillion cubic feet of natural gas in unexplored resources, while independent investigations have not corroborated this figure. Uncontested territories. The majority of current reserves are found in shallow water basins around the sea's edges. This condition reflects the scarcity of deepwater exploration. Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei have a lengthy history of South China Sea development. They have invested in offshore technologies, pipeline networks, and drilling since they lack major onshore potential. International partners frequently offer expertise. As a result, these countries have the most oil and gas reserves in the world. However, in recent years, corporations have begun to venture further offshore in an effort to make fresh discoveries to compensate for dwindling fields. Recent finds, including as China's Liwan 3-1 gas field, which was discovered in 2006, show the potential of deepwater drilling. Chinese national oil corporations are aggressively expanding offshore activity in an effort to identify new reserves and enhance output, building on recent results in the Pearl River mouth basin. Rather than attempting unilateral exploration and production (E&P) activities in disputed territory, some countries in the South China Sea have chosen to collaborate. Malaysia and Brunei addressed territorial disputes in 2009 and formed a partnership to explore Brunei's offshore waters. Despite persistent territorial issues, Thailand and Vietnam have cooperatively developed portions of the Gulf of Thailand. These success stories stand in stark contrast to the sections of the South China Sea that are contested by many parties and have seen minimal energy development. Disputed territory. The Spratly Islands. According to the EIA, the region surrounding the Spratly Islands has essentially no proven or probable oil reserves. According to industry estimates, the neighboring fields have less than 100 billion cubic feet (BCF) of currently economically viable natural gas reserves. However, the Spratly Islands area may hold significant undiscovered hydrocarbon resources. According to USGS estimates, undiscovered resources contain between 0.8 and 5.4, mean 2.5, billion barrels of oil and 7.6 to 55.1, mean 25.5, TCF of natural gas. Evidence suggests that the majority of these resources are likely to be found in the controversial Reed Bank at the Spratly's northeast end, which is claimed by China, Taiwan, and Vietnam. The Philippines began investigating the area in 1970, and natural gas was discovered in 1976. Sterling Energy of the United States obtained the concession in 2002. And Forum Energy of the United Kingdom acquired it and became its operator in 2005. Chinese protests, however, blocked further construction, and the concession remains undeveloped. The region of Paracel has no proved or probable reserves because there are no large discovered conventional oil and gas fields. According to geologic research, the area has little promise for conventional hydrocarbons. Continue to watch on Part 2.